Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back. Well, today is new amp day. Fender Acoustasonic 15 watt amp. I thought for sure I did a review for you guys on this thing. Apparently, according to my YouTube channel, I haven't. So, what better time? Now, I did not buy this at Long McQuaid. Yes, it happened. I actually went on Marketplace and I saw this amp. And it turned out it was actually a friend of mine selling it. And it's like, cool. Dude, I'm interested. So anyways, because I'm his friend, he said, all right, I'll give it to you for 50 bucks. Now, he was asking 60. He just came right out and said, hey, give me 50 bucks, Cav, it's yours. You know, you're friend, so why not? So I, you know what? Let me see what things go like Friday. And sure enough, of course, I decided to go to the bank account instead and go a day early. So I got him his 50 bucks, went and picked it up last night. And it's in really good shape. I mean, it's got a couple little buffer marks on the Tolex, but who cares? I mean, it's a used amp, right? So these are about $120 brand new in Canada at Long McQuaid, and probably on Amazon too, for all I know. But anyway, so what we've got here is microphone input with its own volume. Now, both channels, though they are independent, they share the EQ, but they do not share the chorus, thankfully. It would have been nice to put reverb at least in for the vocal side, because too dry of vocals is but you can always get a reverb pedal for your vocals. It's not a big deal, right? So anyway, so we've got the mic input, its own volume. Then we have, of course, our 1/4 inch input for our instrument. It's an acoustic amp, so you obviously plug acoustic guitars into it. Although you could plug an electric in, but it ain't going to sound that great. Bass, mid, and treble, like I said, shared between the guitar and the vocal. That's probably part of the trickiness to it, but not really, I'm finding. Because I have bass and treble control on my Taylor, but I also have bass, mid, treble, and more. I think I have more than that. Yes, I do. I have another button on my J200. And I've got another acoustic guitar here with bass, mid, treble, so I can easily override stuff and clean it and, you know, get it dialed in. So what I've chosen to do here with the EQ is to basically set the EQ up the same way I do my vocals for my mixing board, except I've dialed down the treble on the amp because there is a lot of treble in this amp. I mean, Fender EQs, there's generally a lot of EQ in them, if you know what I mean. But for my vocal side, I want more bass, more mid, a little bit less treble in there, but I'm still getting lots of treble. I've got the chorus adjusted up just a little bit, but we're going to go through this. We do have a headphone jack. Now this thing is great for gigging in like coffee shops and, you know, small areas, nothing major. I mean, it's only 15 watts and it's a 6-inch speaker. We don't know exactly what the main power potentials of this thing is full blast because in a room this size, it's going to feed back. So, yeah, well, maybe we might have to take a walk on another day and do this outside and crank it full blast and see how loud it really gets outdoors. But I have my volume set at about, thinking backwards, Taylor did things backwards on a lefty. I'd say we're about 1 o'clock on the dial on the volume of the guitar. And we're at about 10-ish on the volume for the amp side. Now, I've also brought in a little bit of extra bass on my EQ on my guitar, and I've pulled back the treble a bit on the guitar. And we get a pretty nice clean sound. I mean, I really like that. Not bad. Now, we are recording this with my room mic as always. Well, not as always, but majority of the time. So here's my vocals now going through the amp. Now, this is one thing I have not found yet, at least on any videos, and I've looked at boatloads of them on this amp. Nobody, including Fender so far, has even bothered to use the microphone port to demo these amps. I mean, I would have expected Fender, show off your product, Fender, you know, but no. And of course, many other people followed suit with the Fender video. They just didn't show off the microphone part. So I'm going to. I haven't found any videos, like I said, with anybody using it. So, hey, I don't know. Maybe there is some out there, but you can only look at so many videos, and you got to find other gear to look at to buy next week. So, here we go. Now, I am going to do a song that I wrote just so that I don't get in trouble with YouTube. And you guys will know this one pretty fast, I'm sure. Not bad. I want to make the lame to walk and the blind to see. Open up the prison doors and set the captives free. Oh Lord, I want to be like Jesus in that Not bad, eh? I think it's okay. You're gonna have to play around with your mix, of course. I've got a little bit of things to clean, but your guitar has to be lower than your vocals, obviously, so that you can be heard on both sides. But I love that chorus effect, so let's play around with that. So here's dry. This is where I had it. Now chorus kind of sounds almost like two guitars. I think probably somewhere around 10 o'clock on the dial. So I'm going to do another one. It's a song I'm working on now, so don't yell at me too much. I want a soar like an eagle, far above the clouds. I want to yell out from the tallest mountain, Jesus Christ is Lord. I want to tell it to all the people. I want them all to know that Jesus is alive. Okay, so not perfect, I know, but it's a song I'm working on. It came into my brain a couple of days ago, and I was messing around with it the other night, and I'm like, yeah, we need some chords for this and some music, and I'm working on it though. But I thought I'd throw in a little bit of a secondary or something a little bit different than what I normally do. I usually play that one song a lot of my videos just because I've memorized it. It's so easy to remember, and it's one that I've written that I've memorized severely. I've memorized a lot of other songs. I just can't do them on YouTube because otherwise they demonetize me for the copyright stuff, you know? Yeah, doing my own stuff is what I like to do anyway, so why not, you know? So, let's do this. All right, now, honestly, guys, for 120 bucks new, if you're gonna buy one brand new, definitely I think it's worth the investment. To be honest, I was kind of leery at first because there's a lot of amps out there, a lot of different choices, and I'm always looking for gear that will fit my needs. Okay, whether it's at the time or later on. I mean, right now, obviously, I'm not gigging, you know, because, yeah, lockdowns, right? You know, the world's in a big frenzy. So we can't really do a whole lot. But on the other side of the fence, better to have it, not need it, than need it, not have it. And I thought this would be great for doing small stuff with. We usually go to like the Powassan Jammers. I've told you guys about that before. Bunch of us crazy guys, we get together, we learn from each other. New stuff all the time too, because, you know, even though I'm an advanced player, I still learn stuff new all the time. You never master that guitar. Never going to happen. But it's nice to be able to amp something up, especially with vocals, right? With that being said, 15 watts I think is quite a bit of power. I'm only at around 10 o'clock-ish on the dial for the volume of the guitar, and I could still get a lot more out of the guitar just by my own volume control on the guitar. Because it's only at 1 o'clock, right? So I still got quite a ways to go, and I could really like blast the guitar through here. Same as the mic. The mic, I'm only just after 12 o'clock, so about 12:30 for the mic, and I can do further adjustments from my body pack or from my unit itself and boost things even further if I want to. Or I can use just a regular passive dynamic mic. So I'm going to answer a question right now. No, you cannot use condenser mics or any kind of microphone that requires phantom power. This does not have phantom power, okay? It's a $120 amp. How much do you really want? Never mind, don't answer that because I already know the world. We all say that. But in this case, we do have chorus, which is nice to have. Now, even though we can't really manipulate chorus the way we would on a pedal, we can still manipulate it nonetheless, and it does have a really nice balanced chorus effect, which is thumbs up. The EQ is what really got me. It is shared between your guitar and your vocals, and that is fantastic because the last amp I tested out wasn't able to do that, and it's kind of like you need to EQ your vocals like hello, you know what I mean? And it was a much more expensive amp. So, but there's no switches or buttons here. This is just everything on the front panel. It's a closed back unit with they call it a special 6, I think it's 6 or 6.5 inch speaker in this thing. But you do have bass, mid, and treble. And by the time you get your vocal set up, you just EQ it from your guitar. You EQ your guitar. Guitar goes into the channel, and even though it's shared with the EQ settings, by the time you EQ your guitar from your EQ, you can balance it out to sound actually really nice. So even though it's not a separate EQ section physically for each channel, it's shared, it still works. Now that's pretty decent. So Fender did a good job here. It's just too bad they didn't do their demo right and actually use the microphone port. Because I was looking for videos on this thing thinking, you know, and I mean, yeah, I only paid 50 bucks, but still, most people would be buying it brand new, 120 bucks in Canada, okay? So, I'm going to say this. I think that if you are looking for something for like coffee shops, okay, small areas, maybe you have a small little church group that gets together on the week, midweek or whatever, right? And you need to get more vocal out there, more guitar, or even just the vocal. Forget amping up your guitar, just amp up your voice even. You can use it just for that, right? I think it would be a fantastic little investment. Now, unfortunately, it does not run on batteries, you know, which kind of, I agree, could probably suck for a lot of you guys. You'd want battery power, right? Because it's portable. Go anywhere. No. As long as there's hydro, yes. But otherwise, there's no hydro. You're kind of yanked. But you're only going to get so much for $120 these days. So I think as far as what I would put for sound quality, for features, capabilities that it does have, and how it all works well together, I'm going to put this amp at a solid 4.5-ish out of 5. Okay? Now, it is not made for big areas. Just remember that. Okay? And we didn't even really push the amp that hard, but still, it's still pretty loud in here. I don't know what you guys are hearing, but it's pretty loud in here, all right? Even for these settings. But I think it deserves that. I mean, it is not perfect, obviously. Nothing is ever perfect. And I would have to go along with a lot of people that would say this, and that's that they should have put a separate EQ in for the vocal and separate for the guitar, making it easier to blend the EQing of both. But on the flip side of the coin, I'm kind of pro the way Fender did it, because these are my typical vocal settings for my bass, mid, and treble. Well, except for the treble. My treble is usually just real balanced straight at 12. But this thing has so much treble, I had to knock the treble back. But even with these settings, setting up for my vocal area, it works really well. I wish they would have put a reverb in it as well. I mean, it probably, you know, if they made smaller diameter knobs and shifted things over about 1 millimeter each, they would have had enough room for a reverb for the vocal side. But you can get a reverb pedal. And again, you're only going to get so much for 120 bucks. So I'm not really knocking points for that. I'm knocking points for the fact that it is not perfect. You know, nothing ever is perfect. And I think 4.5 out of 5 is pretty respectable. I do think that if you're going to be sitting close to this, be careful, because it is going to feedback easily on your headset. Not so easy on the guitar, but definitely on your headset or microphone if you're this close like I am. I'm literally like 2 feet from the speaker. Okay, so that's too close, even at these levels, but at least it's kind of behaving itself, right? But I think it's worth the money. I really do. And it's a good starting point, you know, if you need something that's portable for small areas, just to get your vocals out there more and so on. Like I played at a restaurant back in the 80s, now, I was a backgrounder. That's all they wanted, was a background musician. So people could barely hear the vocals, but they could definitely hear the guitar. And that was the whole idea. We just wanted that kind of an atmosphere. So I said, sure, I can pull that off. So I didn't have any amplifiers for my guitars, nothing for my vocals. But had that gig required me to have something with vocals and amping up my guitar, then this would have been something handy. Now, I don't know what they had back in the 80s, because I wasn't even looking at gear like that back then. But, you know, if this would have been available in the 80s, that would have been come in quite handy for that size of a little restaurant. And that would have been fantastic. But, you know, I'm sure there was gear, but I just didn't need it, so it wasn't a big deal. But if you do need it, this would definitely be very ideal for small restaurants, coffee shops, getting together with your buddies, you know, jamming as well. I mean, this thing, 15 watts is lots. It'll push your acoustic out in your little jam party with your buddies without any issues. I mean, I remember I told you guys a story once about a PV Edition 20, which I have that on my channel. If I remember correctly, that thing was only like 12 watts. I blasted over top of an acoustic drummer that was beating the snot out of his kit, and I had no problems, you know. So that was 12 watts of electric guitar power. This is 15 watts of acoustic electric power, which is still going to get pretty obnoxious too. So I'm pretty sure you should be okay, as long as you set the amp up right. I mean, you got to have it on an angle, you know, facing up. I mean, not dead on the floor, you know, 90 degrees to the next wall. But that's where I'm at with it. Now, I don't know what they charge on Amazon for this thing. I know what they charge at Long & McQuaid in Canada. At any of their stores is $119.99. I think it's worth taking a look at, guys, especially if this is something that you're looking at getting into of this size category. There are dozens of choices out there of acoustic amps, don't get me wrong, and there's a lot of them that are way better than this. But this is a cheap way to get into it. You know, that is definitely there, and it'll help you decide too later on, oh, do I really need more power? because if you need more power, then you can always take this thing back and trade it in for something bigger. Well, trade it in towards something bigger anyways. You're going to be paying difference. But I think that's where I'm at with this unit. I think it's fantastic. I'm glad for the price that I got it for 50 bucks. That was just an amazing deal, so I'm happy with that, and the condition of it is great. I mean, he takes care of his stuff. Only a couple little Tolex things, but what do you expect? It's been used, right? But otherwise, yeah, just a neat little unit. I'm going to play some more with it, because I have another toy sitting on the floor that this thing is actually hooked into that I'll be showing you guys on a video in a couple of days once I figure out how to use this device with the amp, and we'll do that. But in the meantime, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. Catch you on the next one. See ya.